let me start. All right, so welcome to Dental Practice Success webinar series. My name is Alexei. I am the owner of Practice Results, and today's presentation is called Digital Marketing for New Patients, which is obviously a highly popular topic because most dental practices are specifically after new patients, and there's obviously quite a number of things that are sort of not allowing people to get the traction on their marketing campaigns probably as well as they want. A little bit about myself. I run a results agency called Practice Results. What I mean by results is that we specialize in digital marketing, but we focus on the results. And for that particular reason, we do no contracts. I also run a few other businesses as well in various trades, online stores, and basically that allows me to have a deeper understanding of business in general. I'm also a Google Premier Partner, which is something that allows our agency to get support from Google directly. And I have a team of people across Australia supporting me along the way as well. We've got offices in Brisbane, Gold Coast, and Melbourne, and are able to sort of look after various practices and also a lot of small businesses as well. Our main thing is we specialize in practice growth. So we actually work with quite a lot of dental clinics and also some specialist surgery clinics as well to help them with their marketing and their growth. I'm also an author and I run a podcast as well. So I guess for me, the main thing is to be able to educate the customers on the things that are important and that are working in order to help them with their growth. In terms of some of our clients at Practice Results, we look after general dentistry practices, big and small. We also look after some chiropractors as well, and also some specialist surgeons, like bariatric surgeons, for example. Our biggest client is a company called 1300 Smiles. In fact, our dental journey started with them when we onboarded them back in 2016. And that's really allowed us to get a deeper understanding of how the dental marketing works. And from there, basically start specializing in this as well. And in terms of what we do, I guess our core is marketing, but we also do things like web development. We look into avenues like social media marketing, email marketing. We do a fair bit of stuff with Google, like I said, in the search engine marketing side of things. And most importantly, we help businesses in the consulting side of things when it comes to marketing and sales, because let's be honest, I mean, you can certainly run some marketing, but if it's got no strategy behind it, that's where the whole thing gets a little bit out of control. So today's agenda is, I guess, talking about practice marketing as a strategy, because a lot of people don't really see that it is a strategy that actually is necessary in order for a practice to grow. I want to talk about the gaps in marketing and also talk about offer ideas. And then I guess from there, I want to be able to address marketing budget wasters, because a lot of the time people run marketing and they get a bill from Google or Facebook every single month, but those budgets are actually wasted, and people are sort of really struggling to identify as to why they're being wasted as well. And another thing I want to talk about is, what's working in 2023, because obviously we've been through COVID and there's been a number of different things on the agenda that's been keeping people either very busy or not so busy. And I think it's very important to understand exactly what some of those trends are. And in the end, let's do Q&A as well. All right. So I guess in terms of Dental Practice Success Series, the whole idea was to put this together so we could actually collaborate with a lot of other business owners that specialize in practices. So last time we actually ran an event with a business coach from Melbourne, Julie Parker. She specializes in practice growth, and she's a former dentist herself. We also get involved in quite a fair bit of personal and professional development in terms of being able to relate to sales, marketing, and also, I guess, things like team culture and so on. And one of the things I guess we like doing is reviewing marketing strategies, because a lot of the time people really set and forget. And really the aim is to help you get better clients and improve your sales processes as well. So let's talk about practice marketing as a strategy. The whole practice marketing side of thing really comes down to the 4 key areas. And I think some businesses do it really well, while other businesses don't do it well at all. So really there's four critical parts. You need to make sure that you get the awareness so you can attract people, you can engage them, you can convert, and then you can retain them as well. And I think, the first 3 and the last point probably is important, because if you're able to attract new customers, but you can't, create repeat business out of that, the whole thing becomes quite pointless. In fact, a lot of the time, it actually becomes, not profitable at all. People make a loss out of that whole exercise. So if we talk about attracting, I guess it really all is about, understanding your customer audience, understanding the geographical targeting that you're after, the interests of that audience, and things like income, for example. One other thing that is worth adding to this is the majority of the time, if you do general dentistry, you will be dealing mainly with the female audience. So you'll find that mainly women are the ones that are deciding on behalf of, families' health. And from there, basically, you would basically be targeting them. And I'll find that's about 70% of the actual audience that typically comes through. You can basically pick and choose your income levels. And yes, I know a lot of businesses would be choosing the top 10%. However, if you're in general dentistry, depending on the suburbs you target, you may not be targeting the right audience as well. But it's very important to be aware of these things, because then the message and the whole marketing campaign will take a different shape. In terms of engaging, it's really having that key message and making sure that your ads stand out, they're interesting, they're relevant, they've got a call to action, and most importantly, that they're clear. You don't want to do something that's overly complicated, and you want to make sure that the actual message really aligns with the problems that your business is resolving. In terms of converting, it's really to do with this offer. And I think this is, what I find is missing most of the time. Either there is no offer on dental marketing, present altogether, or the offer is outdated, or it's basically just not, easy to sort of understand. So you really need to make sure that it's appealing, it's value oriented, and if you can add a sense of urgency, that would make things even better. Retaining customers. Obviously, a lot of people, focus on this, and there are obviously a ton of different systems and processes that you can implement from your practice management software to make sure that you have these people in check. And obviously, the simplest process is you book the next appointment in advance if someone comes up for checkup and clean. However, if you look at it from that linear perspective, it's very difficult to tap into different services, which is where the whole upsell thing really fails. So having purposeful marketing delivered via, let's say, email marketing really allows you to activate a lot of opportunities, specifically in relation to things like teeth whitening or the aesthetic dentistry side of things. And within the practices, I often find that there's a new dentist, or a dentist might be leaving the practice. And what you really want to do is you want to keep people aware as to what's actually happening at practice and how that will actually help them along the way as well. A lot of the time, there is a dentist at a practice who's got a specialty in terms of the service that they deliver, but there is actually no marketing around something like that. And in fact, everything is being done quite on the spot. As the person sort of comes in and gets treatment, then the question will pop up. You can really turn that around and create this whole repetition in terms of the actual marketing perspective, and really tailor this into your email and social media marketing. Now, let's talk about the gaps in the marketing. And I guess this is, more relevant to businesses that are existing. However, I do find that quite a few businesses would run something, and then from there, it's just some things are missing. And if they had those things, really things would be a lot more efficient. So no, often we'll talk about this. There's a separate section to this presentation on the offer side of things. However, it's really just about making sure that you're presenting people with something that they can actually align their problem with and take action. Mobile and above the fold. Now, this is more the aesthetics of the website. And I find that a lot of the time, majority of practices look at their website through a desktop. They don't really realize that the website on the mobile may not actually look as attractive. And a lot of the time, actually, certain elements could be dominating or making the website appear in a way that it's actually not very user-friendly. And I guess if you're running a lot of your mobile advertising, which you would be naturally through things like social media, you really need to address that factor. Capturing prospects. Now, this is something that e-com marketing does really well. I mean, the first thing that you're going to see on a website that sells, products is a name and email capture. They typically try to push for something that's got, something that has an offer for the new clients, or basically some sort of a discount. And the whole objective is really to acquire leads, because every time a person comes through the website, It is really all about capturing their details. So that is really a big missing piece of the puzzle. And I think implementing that really allows to generate an additional a group of people, an additional audience, if you like, in order to be able to sell to. And lastly, one of the biggest gaps I see is using landing pages. A lot of companies just don't go with that. And yeah, that just doesn't work altogether. And the whole idea of landing pages is that the landing pages actually convert at a much higher rate as opposed to using your normal website. And most of the time, people don't even know the difference. So we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail as well. So let's talk about these things a little bit more specific. So I guess the mobile and above the fold is that really what you want is the whole above the fold thing is really what you see on the website without having to scroll, whether it's on the mobile or desktop. And I guess desktop is probably the one easier to digest because this is how you see your website as it initially is created. You want to make sure that the key information, like having a phone number and a location, is well above the fold. So people don't have to look twice to find things like that. And I'll give you an example. One of our clients is in an area close to Belmont. So if you're going to search for, let's say, Dentist Belmont, you'll actually find one practice that's in Belmont, but then there's another Belmont in Western Australia. So we're talking Queensland versus Western Australia, and it's very, very easy to get lost. So if you don't have the actual address of the place and a phone number, then it could be quite misleading. And a lot of the time, people are ending up in the wrong places. Now, health funds, that is a huge selling point, and providing health funds and working with certain health funds really provides a lot of opportunities for the customers. If you don't have that information above the fold, the clients basically won't be able to relate to it. And I find that having health funds featured is one of the key things for dental websites. But for some reason, people either leave them out or they basically push them down to the bottom. Services. If someone offers general services in terms of dentistry, that really needs to be outlined. And, you know, typically it's things like toothaches, emergencies, and so on that people are looking for. Instead, some websites you go to really try to focus on implants and other things while they are a general, dental practice. And look, I understand the fact that that may be the service that they want to promote. However, if 80% of your business is general dentistry and the 20% is specialized, you really need to factor this into your actual design and deliver that message in a way that's easy to understand. Otherwise, you're potentially pushing your main service at the expense of your bread and butter, your cash flow type services. But look, every business is different. It's just that I think, and in my experience, having services above the fold clearly described is really a must-have. Now, to make things even better, I think having an offer with a call to action works excellent. So, for example, having like a new patient check up and clean, or a discount or something like that in order to get them on board. Because really the objective for any practice is to be able to get new patients coming through. That's really what you're after. And then I guess having that opt-in, having that name and email capture is one of those things that you could easily present within that top section of your website. So for example, one of the websites I came across is this website. And obviously, look, it looks a little bit clean. However, it looks a little bit of amateurish as well. I've actually got the desktop version on the left-hand side, and I've got the mobile version on the right-hand side. It talks about dental emergency implants, patients. It doesn't really feature the address of the place. And then from here, it features the address within this text, which is a little bit hard to read. And then it features a video of someone getting a dental implant. So I don't think that fully aligns. And then on the desktop, half of those things are missing as well. Obviously, you can't see the navigation menu, and the whole thing goes missing a little bit. Now, instead, this is one of the websites that we have done. It's a business called Crestmead Dental. And if you look into that, you will basically be able to see the mobile, you'll be able to see the address, the opening hours, and the phone number right up the top. And these are some of the key things that people actually want to see. And then from there, really the call to action is to be able to book an appointment. So that's what we are pushing for specifically here. Now, we also have a landing page on this website, and we'll talk about that. And we also have an offer as well, which I'll show you in a moment. So capturing prospects. This is really all about having that opt-in, which is one of the things that most websites don't have for some reason. But like I said, e-com has really mastered this. And, I actually look after quite a number of e-commerce businesses. About 10% of your sales actually come through your email marketing. It is really a great way to activate an audience and get people to come back. So really the exercise is about building a list. And also from there, you can also qualify and segment your contacts as well. So for example, if you're dealing with a tool, for example, like ActiveCampaign or MailChimp or something like that, you can create various lists and tag people accordingly. If they are your past customers, existing customers, prospects, you can basically segment and have a different message specifically for them as well. You can also transition them from one list to another. If a client comes into your website and fills out a form, you can then transition them from one tag to another, which is really more about trying to activate these contacts for different services. If you can create a nurturing sequence and educate someone on, let's say, orthodontics, that can actually do a lot of selling for you. So if you're a general dental practice, and from there, you basically want to be able to offer, let's say, Invisalign, you could put together an email campaign that would educate the customer over a period of time about the service and then book you the appointment as well. It's all about that strategic sequence. I also think that a lot of people don't understand that email marketing could be a huge asset to your other marketing as well. What I mean by that is some of you may be familiar with audiences within Facebook and Google. So you can actually load up a bunch of emails into your Google or Facebook marketing library and use them as an audience for Google or Facebook to target. You can also get them to build a similar audience as well. And it's a really good way to be able to educate the whole machine learning behind Google and Facebook marketing and say, hey, I want to get more customers like that. It's quite lucrative how that works, but a lot of people don't realize that the email marketing is a great marketing asset for other things as well. What I also find is that email marketing overall, compared to everything else, probably the cheapest form of marketing. Now, yes, you will pay a good figure for running a huge list. Let's say if you run 50,000 people, you may be maybe up to $300, $400, $500 a month in terms of MailChimp fees. However, every time you send out an email, it doesn't cost you anything else. So it is quite cheap and transparent. And if you understand the nuts and bolts behind this, it's really just about building the list and regularly communicating with that list. So back to the Crestmead Dental. As you visit that website, there is a pop-up that comes up with a special offer, which is a checkup and clean. And if you look at one of the previous slides, we've basically got this special offers tab over here. If you click on that, that actually enables that as well. So that works really well. And what we actually found is that a lot of the people that are opting in for this offer, they don't want to redeem that straight away. So there's the whole timing element to this. And a lot of the time, people basically want to be able to come back to this offer in the future. What also happens is oftentimes people actually forward this offer to a lot of other people as well. And obviously you want to make sure that you make this attractive, but you also have got your exclusions, and you want to make sure that there are things in there that will allow you to limit the use of that as well. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the landing pages. And obviously this is a big gap within a lot of the marketing. For some reason, people just send all their traffic to the homepage and hope that it's going to work. Well, in terms of relevance, which is probably the main thing with Google, if you're going to send everything to the homepage, you can't make your homepage relevant to everything. However, you can make it specific to landing pages. And the landing page is really, I guess, a tailored page to a specific service that sort of focuses specifically on that. And most of the time, you'll find that landing pages have no navigation because purely you want people to focus on the message that you're pushing through. And there is a hero section right up the top that talks about the offer, has a call to action, and then there's some information about the service. Now, typically landing pages convert about double as to what the normal websites would convert, sometimes even more. I mean, we have an average of about 15% conversion rate when it comes to landing pages, whereas your normal website would probably convert at about 3 to 7%. Obviously, it would vary depending on the copy and what you specialize in. But yeah, the more generally you're going to go, the lower the conversion rate is going to be. The more specific you're going to go, and the more specific the landing page would be, the better it would go. This is an example of a landing page for one of our clients called Alex Hills Dental. So it really is just a one-pager, which really makes the key information stand out. And really, we are targeting people specifically for general dentistry. It's that classic checkup and clean for new patients at a special price. And then from there, we also outline some of the key selling points, such as 0% interest payment plans, private health funds, friendly team, free kids dental. Obviously, there is a scheme backed up by the government, and then emergency services available, because a lot of the time people see this, they basically want to be able to walk in and get a treatment. So this is an example of landing page. It is fairly clean. It is fairly plain, I understand, but it works really well. So this one converts at about 15 to 20%. And what I also like about it is it looks really good on the mobile. On the mobile, the offer is presented right in the middle of the screen. You click on that inquire now, and it takes you right to the bottom of the page straight away to fill out a form. It is fast, it's efficient. And I guess another element that's worth mentioning as well is having these Google ratings. We've got this floating bar that connects to the Google ratings. And this is a very holistic way to sort of build the trust without actually featuring any testimonials, which are quite regulated by, your Operas of the world. So this is a good example of a landing page, I guess. Now let's talk about the offers, because I've mentioned this a couple of times in previous slides. And I think a lot of the time people really are out of ideas when it comes to what the offer could be. So I think before you jump into an offer, you really need to understand who's your target market, and what's the long game, because what you don't want to do is come up with an offer that's going to get their attention and get a person coming in for the service, but then you won't be able to have that retention. So I like to call this the long game. Also, you need to consider things like profitability. And look, with most dental practices, if you do some sort of a checkup and clean at, let's say, $180 or so, you'll probably just break even or even make a loss by the time you consider all your marketing and all your receptionist expenses. So really the whole idea is making sure that that person comes in for the second appointments, and then from there, you are able to win other business. Another thing is scalability. If you basically are pushing for only the one thing, it's very difficult to then diversify the whole thing unless you obviously know how to nurture those sequences. And obviously you got to be realistic about resources. If you're going to do some sort of a really good offer that's going to attract a lot of people, would you be able to fulfill that? And is this going to be a good way to step forward, or is this going to really overload your practice and not allow you to focus on your key customers as well? So really important to consider these factors before you hit the go button on any of the offers. In terms of ideas, and I've got quite a few here, and these are really the things that we find get a lot of traction through Google Ads. Now, we do a lot of A/B split testing, which allows us to test different ad copies throughout our campaigns. And these are the things that we find people click on the most and really pay attention to the most. And also a lot of the practices would basically relay back to us that this is specifically what's working. So new patient discounts. So people love getting something like a new patient checkup and clean, and potentially x-rays if need be, as a bundle. That works quite well. One thing that a lot of people aren't doing, and I actually find that some practices that do this really well and on scale, it's this meet your local dentist event, and actually running events. Now, running events takes things to a completely different dimension, but I do find that if people are after schools or childcares or potentially certain workplaces, you are able to sort of build that a bridge with those organizations by running events, and really is really more about doing something that nobody else has done. Smile Makeover. Now, Smile Makeover is your classic entry point into orthodontics and also cosmetic dentistry as well. And really, it's a process that the patient would pay potentially, $100 or so just to sort of come in. And then from there, you could help them model their smile and identify exactly the process that is necessary to get them to where they want to go. So we have a customer on the Gold Coast that does this really well in terms of pushing for veneers. And I have another customer that uses something very similar for their orthodontics practice as well. They've got that process where they're able to sit down a prospect and basically model a smile with Invisalign or another form of orthodontics. And then from there, that's their sales process. Health funds, without a doubt, there are no gaps and so on that you can promote as well with certain health funds. Offers with From, I mean, you may see some of the billboards kicking around. This is sort of becoming quite popular, where dental implants from, $3,990 or something like that. That is a good way to attract people through. However, you really need to understand the mechanics behind the scenes, because if you're going to do that, you may potentially end up with a lot of low-end customers. Now, the trick behind this is really a sales process that allows you to start the conversation at, $3,990 and then upsell them into something else which suits their problem a lot better. Free value ads. This is something that's not utilized too much, and obviously there are, various concerns about the competition of this particular value add to the actual service. So, for example, having like an at-home teeth whitening kit with, your appointments and stuff. And obviously, if you do like Zoom teeth whitening, this could be a conflict. However, it's really more about adding more value to what you're doing in order to be able to stand out from the crowd. Because if you look at the ads of your competitors, you'll find that, okay, out of, let's say, 4 people, one's got an offer and no one's really adding anything extra to what they're doing. So to an average client that's looking for a new dentist, it all looks exactly the same. Price-oriented offers, I've got a slide coming up just shortly on this, so I'll go through that in more detail. And payment plans. Obviously, payment plans is a hot topic, and overall, it is a big point when it comes to availability of the service. So having payment plans and being able to offer these definitely wins, you know, a good chunk of the market as well. So new patient offer. This is one of our client, Road Dental. They've got this 50% off first checkup and clean, very similar to what you've seen before. However, the lucrative part here is that they're not actually disclosing any figures, which means that they can really play around with their numbers according to their conversion rates. And really, you know, the exercise here is we're trying to build up a database for these offers, and from here we can basically keep you know, nurturing those contacts and turn them into customers with the time to come. There's also, you know, the actual offer on the website as well. So whether it's a pop-up or whether it's like that, there are many ways to present that. Now, this is the price, you know, this is the price strategy where you could potentially be showing the different options for clients and to show them what the actual cost is. However, this may actually backfire, because if you're going to start advertising on price, your competitors may be doing the same. But you know, if you are in a budget area where people are asking the same sort of question, and you've done your research on the competition, you do get a lot of calls. You can potentially position things in a certain way. So, hey, yes, a single consult is $80, full checkup is $120, checkup and clean is $179, and emergency and urgent dental is $199. So you could really cap that. Now, like I said, it all really comes down to your sales process. If you think that you can really compete on these sort of prices, it could be a way to present it. I'm personally against giving out the price off the website. I think it's much better to engage in the conversation and be able to have a qualifying process, because let's be honest, if you're the cheapest, you're probably going to get a lot of wrong customers. If you competing on price, then someone's going to come in $5 cheaper, and that's going to start another challenge altogether. So you have to really understand the ins and outs of these strategies. All right, so let's talk about marketing budget wasters, because yeah, I see quite a lot of campaigns where people have been running the same Google Ads campaign, and the marketing agencies that look after them, they give them a fantastic report where it looks like they're getting lots of conversions. However, when those practices look at the reports of their new patients, it seems like a lot of the conversions aren't really the right conversions. And what I mean by that is the budgets actually collide with existing inquiries. So what happens is there's existing clients that are inquiring about your business, but you know, they may be searching for the name of your business, which has got a location in. So for example, Alex Hills Dental is a classic example here. And they basically click on your Google ads and inquire. So to an agency, it looks like there's a conversion coming through. However, it's your past customer booking through. So how do you avoid something like that? And there's a few ways around that. I also find that a lot of people pour a lot of dollars into social media campaigns that are very direct. So, and social media is different to Google ads in the sense that Google ads, for example, or search engine marketing, SEO, people would search for something, which means they have to take that first step in order to find the result that they're looking for. So there is an intent behind that query. With social media, the ads are being served at the customer while they're scrolling through their feed, talking to their friends and whatnot. So the whole thing may get traction. However, conversions don't go as well for social media as they do for Google ads. Now, there are exceptions. If you're obviously doing some sort of free campaigns and you want to get the volume, then social media works really well. Excuse me. Which is why I do recommend a lot of customers doing social media campaigns in line with email marketing to build those lists. Customer journey mismatch. Now, that's a classic one as well, which is pretty much, you know, your marketing not attracting the right sort of customer, or the customer not behaving in the way that you be thinking. Maybe your customers are driving through the different roads and they never really get to see your marketing material. And if you're targeting people through Google, there is a setting where the people are passing through the area. You may just not be able to address them because their journey is very different. Now, area keywords clashing with local brands pretty much relates to that first point, because I find that a lot of the time, if you've been in an area for a very long period of time, you may as well be excluding that area for your paid advertising, because people can already find you. They know already who you are. And I would much rather be strategically focusing on the areas where you want to get the customers from. And in fact, if you look at your practice management software, you should be able to run a report to find out, okay, here's where my customers are coming from. Here is, here are the areas that I need to focus on, and here are the competitors that come up in these areas. So I guess, from that perspective, it is a huge topic in terms of wastiness. However, it's very difficult to address this without looking at your campaign. So I guess if any of you guys want to get your Google Ads or social media account audited to identify these things, I'd be more than happy to offer you something like that. So what's working best in 2023? I guess, in our observation, the whole search engine marketing, Google Ads, probably works the best. And a lot of people think, hey, it's a bit old school. But the whole idea behind Google Ads is to actually do it in a way that your competitors aren't doing. If you're just going to automate it or set it up and forget about it, yes, you're going to get very mediocre type of leads. And all you're going to see very regularly is your money being deducted from your account at the end of the month. You really need to make sure that the whole ads account is managed. And within Google Ads, there are different types of campaigns. It's not just about your search ads coming out where people search in Google. You can also have display ads, YouTube ads. There's a whole bunch of different things as well. SEO and Google business. Now, these two things work really, really well, because I find that obviously coming up for a certain keyword in an area gets you the engagement. However, if you got the Google business with the reviews, you also get the trust, because in 2023, everybody looks at reviews before they engage in your business, whether you're going for a meal at a restaurant or whether you're basically looking for a new mechanic, you will rely on those reviews. And what's interesting is that a lot of the time, people will be looking at the negative reviews. Now, this is a huge topic, and we've actually got our next event scheduled for next month already that we're actually doing for free with another company that specializes in Google reviews, specifically for practices. So look out for that one, but that will explain that in more detail, because there's actually a whole degree of science to it as well. Now, one thing that I'm absolutely loving is the fact that SEO and SEM, when they're combined, they typically get you 3 times the result. And I'll show you a slide shortly, because I think this is really, really cool. SEO is you ranking organically. Someone looks up for an area, in dentist or a dental practice or an orthodontist in the area in relation to your service. And your SEM can really target a very specific profile of people. So your Google Ads, you can pick and choose as to who you show your ads to, when you show it, where you show it, and so on. So that when people see you multiple times, typically gets people clicking through multiple times and coming back to basically make a decision. And look, in 2023, it's not a one-step process. If you're looking for somebody, you're not just going to click on them once. You typically do your research, and then you have to come back to finalize your customer journey. And what often happens is people search for something, they see the ads, and they go, okay, I'm not going to click on the ads. And then they go visit your website. And unless it's an urgent matter, they usually take a little bit of time to research, especially when it comes to high-ticket items like orthodontics. So then your remarketing ad or your ad popping up elsewhere really reignites the conversation. Then they come back and they finish that transaction. So typically we find that it's at least 4 points of interactions until somebody comes along. You could also extend this to things like social media marketing. Now, email marketing. Email marketing is huge. And like I said before, it is a great way to activate a database of people. And if you've got that database, it costs you very little to send out an email to start a conversation with those people again. And I find it's a classic one to start a conversation about orthodontics to general dentistry clients. Or if you're building a list on your website for new checkup and clean, talking about things like teeth whitening or cosmetics dentistry, for example. That works really, really well. Now, last one I wanted to talk about is YouTube ads, and I've got a slide that sort of talks about it in more detail. But YouTube's is something that a lot of people think is way too hard, and for that particular reason, they don't really get involved. I think that's a massive opportunity for all sorts of businesses, purely because YouTube is probably the new search engine where people spend way too much time. So we'll talk about that in a second. All right, so more specifically, Google Ads. Why I love Google Ads and why we focus on Google Ads. You can get your ads to run instantly. You don't have to wait for anything. It's a very fair model in terms of pay-per-click. You pay for the clicks that you receive to the website. You set your budget very specific. Hey, I want to pay $100 a day, $100 a week, whatever that is. You can show your ads as per schedule, 9 to 5, 7 till 12 or something. You can really make sure that the inquiries come through at the time when you can answer those inquiries. And I absolutely love this, because a lot of practices, especially when they start out, that have your receptionist as the hygienist or so, and you're not able to pick up the calls at all times. However, you know that at certain moments, you can basically adjust to the calls. And this is how you can actually structure things and be very purposeful as to when the ads run. You can target locations. You can target people by income, as I said before. You can target people by gender, or you can also exclude any of the above as well. That is really cool, because if you are sort of talking about the budget wasters, and let's say you've been in one area for 25 years, everybody in that area knows you, for you to target that area is going to collide with your existing customers inquiring. So you may as well exclude that to go for more specific areas. And I think the key here is having a tailored message to each one of your audiences. If you're able to, address women looking for family health, or basically book a child for a dentist during school holidays, you could do these things by being able to say, hey, let's serve this ad to women at a particular time of the day. And over time, you will be able to pick up some patterns. For example, women typically take kids to school, and that window between 9 and 3 is typically when they're at home. So you'll find that there's a bit of a pattern when they inquire. And really, if you are tracking your incoming calls and you have the information as to who called, who they are, what they're after, you should be able to paint a picture to find out exactly who your audiences are. Now, this is an example about one of our clients where we've done some review for them. They've basically been in this area of Tingalpa for a very long time, but they have taken note of understanding the customer patterns, and they've got a very strong dominance in the area of Tingalpa. If they had a look at the actual target markets, and you can do some sort of research in relation to the populations of those areas and income levels and so on, you find that out of these areas like Cannon Hill actually works really, really well. It's a large area, and there's only a couple of competitors, and they haven't got any offers running, for example. So the interesting thing is, if you're going to advertise in that area, you can actually win the market by having a more attractive offer. You can also run strategic campaigns for people at certain times of the day. So, for example, if everybody's driving to the city, and in this particular diagram, the city is sort of to the left, they'd be driving in traffic in the morning if they need to see a dentist. Now, if you go the other way, you're going to make this very convenient and very straightforward. And all this sort of stuff allows you to have that better conversation. This is what we do with our clients to help them understand that. Now, overall, in this particular area, we find that Carina is a well-developed area with high economic net worth, and a lot of the patients are coming through that area. So rather than targeting everybody in these areas, we're having a very specific message to Carina in order to bring people to Tingalpa, and that's that's the strategy we're executing right now. Google and SEO, yeah, look, it's all about findability, it's all about market presence, search dominance, but most importantly, I think it's about trust, because people look at those reviews, like I said. But if you're looking to dominate your Google results organically, you're really looking for useful content, because content is really the king, and that's what actually wins you the Google rankings, to put it real simple. Obviously, there's quite a big SEO formula behind the whole Google algorithm, and there's all these things like ChatGPT that are making an impact, but you'll find that overall, if your business is being seen, if you've got the right reviews, you will get traffic coming through. And then from there, if you're taking the tips from this webinar on how to optimize above the fold, you should be able to win a bigger share of the market. So, for example, this is the slide that I wanted to look at to show you how you basically would get triple the traction if you run Google ads and if you have SEO rankings as well. So if someone looks for Alexandra Hills Dental, or dentist, or any of the variations, you'll find that ad showing right up the top. And really, this is what shows all of our selling points specifically to the customer. And then from here, we can pick and choose as to what sort of content goes in there. And then organically, you've got the Google Business coming up with all the reviews. And then from there, you've got the organic result coming underneath. A lot of people read the Google ad, but they skip that because they're like, hey, it's a paid ad, and then they go further. But typically, this is where you're going to get a lot of traction. And the whole thing here is dominance. People see that you come up all the time. Hey, these guys are everywhere. I got to check it out. Besides, they've got a lot of reviews. Their reviews are better than their competitors, and that's a winning point as well. So with reviews, obviously it is a bit of a race who's got more reviews. However, you want to maintain that star rating, and then you also want to make sure that you don't cope as many negative reviews as well. Now, like I said, reviews is another topic altogether. We'll cover that in the next month, but it is hugely important. And I guess, yeah, lastly, email marketing list. We spoke about it a few times, but if you can divide your list into current clients, prospects, and newsletter contacts, you could actually start better conversations and educate these lists about things like teeth whitening, orthodontics, and so on. And it's not a matter of running a campaign once off. I see a lot of people make the mistake of sending an email blast, doing it once and saying, hey, yeah, we got a few things, but it hasn't really worked. Or they try to make it too perfect. They focus too much on the aesthetics and the design, and it doesn't quite work. The whole idea is persistence and having a strategy behind the whole thing. I'm personally a big fan of running campaigns that are more plain and more straight to the point. So what I mean by that is you really want to make sure that your emails are content driven as opposed to image driven. And you'll know this yourself. If you're going to get an email from somebody that's got text in there, you're more likely to read that. And if this text is relevant, you'll be able to take action. If you're going to get an email from somebody with a newsletter format, most of the time you're like, hey, this is marketing material, and may not be reading that straight away. Everybody is different. If you get something from your current health provider, that yes, you probably will read the newsletter. But if you haven't really interacted that much with them, you much appreciate that personalized email that's going to be more straight to the point. And look, I know email marketing is one of those old school methods, but it works really well. And from there, you can really control the open rates, the click-through rates, and other things through optimizing your copy. We have found that email marketing is one of those jams that a lot of people just haven't exercised. And look, with my philosophy, I think you got to really focus on things that other practices aren't doing, because that is a big winning point when it comes to doing better at your marketing. YouTube ads, yeah. So I briefly mentioned this, and look, the whole YouTube is a powerhouse. Obviously, it is a Google's baby now. They've really put a lot of energy into making this work. YouTube can identify really good audiences, and what I mean by that is if you're researching certain things, they basically take that information, they map that across your Google history, your searches, your email, and everything else, and paint a picture as to what you're after. So, for example, they know if you're about to buy a house, they know that you're about to, I don't know, get a dog or just got a dog. Like the amount of triggers there is crazy. It's really through the roof. And the three formats of the ads that they basically show you through this TrueView discovery format is ads within the search. So if you search for something in YouTube, you will get a paid result, typically of a video. Then within the actual video itself, you'll get an ad, and then you'll have an ad on the side of the video as well. And the idea of TrueView is that if you click that and it comes up with that video with a 5-second countdown, if you close that ad within those 5 seconds, it's free. And that's the beauty of it. A lot of people don't know that. So you can get massive exposure to your ideal customer, where you can really tailor this specifically, like, hey, they are new to the area. So you can have a message saying, looking for a new dentist, or new to the area, book an appointment, or something like that. Like, you really need to understand your customer journey and these audiences in order to be able to overlap this with your marketing message. This is the change within all of digital marketing in 2023. A lot of the time people just think, hey, we're going to show an ad to anyone. We're going to have a Google ad popping up when somebody searches something. Well, it's really starting to change more towards the user behavior and those audiences. It is perfect for awareness. If you're a new business, you absolutely must be running, YouTube ads. And the whole YouTube ad doesn't have to be rocket science. Do a 30-second video featuring, your brand and potentially your receptionist, what it looks like inside, and make sure you've got an offer that you're able to present. And that's all you really need in order to start this market. Yes, I know some people want to make it perfect. However, that comes at the cost of taking 2 months for the production company to produce something and costing you thousands of dollars. I think, a 30-second professional looking video should probably cost you about $1,000 tops. And you should be able to, get a half decent a Google partner to be able to run a campaign through Google Ads for you. So I think it's a massive opportunity if you're a practice, because hardly anyone uses it and everybody is on YouTube. It is absolutely massive. Here's a case study from Crestmead Dental. I thought it's important to share something like this. We've been working with these guys for quite some time, but we've used search engine marketing to help them generate new patients. And I guess the whole idea was they were running a budget that were running things themselves, which was pretty much costing them double of what they were, what they really could have spent. And we helped them reduce their marketing budget by half while tripling the number of leads coming through. And majority of these are phone calls, which is really, really good. The average cost per lead is roughly $19.40. And overall, we've used our approach, which is called the SMART approach, where we really have been able to refine their marketing, pick up specific audiences, specific locations, and really focus on those new patients. Because I think for any dental practices wanting to grow, it's really more about acquiring those new patients and making sure that you can turn those into repeat clients. But then really it comes down to your sales processes and the systems that you implement as well. Henry has given us a nice testimonial. The ad created and posted by this company works really well. We are very happy with the result. They are creative, responsive, and easy to work with. Thanks so much, Henry Wong. He's the principal dentist of that one. Now, the latest news on Crestmead Dental is that they're expanding to 4 chairs. They've been a 2-chair practice for a while, which is music to my ears. And obviously, if you guys are in business, in the dental business, understand the business component, having a 3-chair practice from a 2-chair practice is a huge jump, and you can typically double your revenue through that. If you're doing a 4-chair practice, that goes completely to another level as well. So I'm really happy that that's what these guys are doing. Yeah, guys, if you need help with this sort of stuff, my offer is my offer is there for a discovery call. And I guess if you're interested in getting a website critique and getting some feedback as to how you can fine-tune things, or you're running a Google or a Facebook campaign right now, where you want an audit, or you want to talk about strategy, or if you want like done for you service, we'd be very keen to chat. So you can book a discovery call via this QR code while it's on the screen, or you could maybe put your email address in the chat here, and we'd be more than happy to sort of get back to you and book a time, because I think it's very important to understand the bigger picture of what you're doing, because a lot of the stuff, people start marketing when it's too late. They go reactive as opposed to responsive. And the difference is things happen, the economy changes, new competitor pops up, and then people start to market. Well, you may be successful at that, but most of the time I find that you typically just continue to suffer. And really what I want is growth. Like if you're able to achieve growth, if you're able to build up a business, get better customers, increase your prices, increase your revenue, be able to position yourself from a completely different perspective. That's what I'm really, really after. All right, well, let's open up the mic for questions. I'm sure some of you guys may have some questions. So I'm just going to unmute and be happy to take questions if you got some.
I just had a question.
Sure.
What do you think the average monthly spend that you should spend on Google Ads and SEO separately or overall to see conversion rates that you want?
How big is your practice?
So we've got the capacity for 5 chairs. We've currently got 3 chairs. We're just running 2, and we've only been open for 3 weeks.
Look, in terms of Google Ads, if you're starting out, I'd go a little bit more, but basically acquiring a new patient on average will probably cost you somewhere about, I'd say $40 to $60. These are the figures that are across Australia. And obviously the major cities with more competitors would cost more, but roughly that's what you'd be paying for acquiring a patient, because typically the conversion rate would be, let's say, 50%. And what I say by that, the reason why I say that is because you may be converting a lot more than that, but then some people may be not showing, or potentially some people are, price shopping. So I'd say 1 and 2, if your leads are coming in at, $25, $30, so you'd be paying between, $40, $50, $60 per patient coming through. So I'd work backwards and basically budget off that. Okay. Obviously, if you're a new practice, it's going to be easier for you to do that. If you're an existing practice, you really have to address those budget wasters, because a lot of the time the budgets do collide with the existing inquiries, and things do become a bit more complicated, where you have to be clear as to what you're promoting. If you're promoting a new service to an existing target market, then you need to treat those differently, because if you were promoting, let's say, orthodontics, and then you got one of your past patients inquiring about orthodontics through an ad, then you need to treat that as new business coming through, because you wouldn't have got that otherwise. So you have to be really clear as to who you are targeting and how they will find you. So this is where you really need to track your stats. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
So roughly, I mean, to make it a bit more clear, about $1,000 per chair is what most practices spend if they want to grow. And then SEO wise, well, look, this is a lucrative topic. I mean, our package is sort of started at about $900 a month, but it really depends how aggressive you want to go and how many areas you want to target as well. So if you want to maybe send me more information about your practice, I can come back to you with a bit of a more specific quote. But you know, SEO is something that some companies overseas may be charging $500 for. And look, results may vary. Some companies can do well, other companies may not, and local companies may be charging $2,000-3,000 a month. There's really quite a big gap. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Cool. Thank you.
Any other questions? Ian, do you have a question? I've just muted everyone, so I just want to make sure that everyone's got the opportunity to unmute and ask the question. I guess one of the things
can I ask another question?
Yeah, go for it, Kat. Yep.
And how often do you think we need to send out email marketing emails?
I personally think once a month is good. First of all, because this allows you to set a habit to for people to receive your emails. Because if you're going to do one, once every 6 months, people, because they don't expect it, a lot of people will bin it. What I would like instead is if you send out the first email, yes, you're probably going to have about 2 to 3% of people unsubscribe from those emails, but then the rest of the people will continue to read them. And that really comes down to the actual content in the email. You don't want to make it too salesy. I like the whole Gary V's jab, hook approach, where you educate the customer, and then you have an offer. So for example, if you want to transition from general dentistry into orthodontics, for example, you could put together some material about, hey, we've got a new dentist that specializes in orthodontics, and these are the sort of products that we use, Invisalign and so on. Next month, it could be, hey, here's a case study of someone coming through, and this is the results that they got through orthodontics, before and after photos. And then the third email would be more about, hey, we're doing a special offer, book in your smile makeover for $200 and get that taken off the price if you decide to go ahead. This way, you've educated them over 3 months. They had enough to think. And then from there, you could strategically follow that up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And obviously you could do that with implants and other things as well. And you'll find that the more expensive the product is, the longer typically it takes you to convert them. And if you just do that on the one occasion, which is quite natural, someone comes in and says, hey, I think I need an implant. And they're like, hey, it's this much. And they're gone, right? And then you follow it up based on price. If you're able to send some information about saying, hey, here are the types of implants, here are the factors that may be affecting your implant, I don't know, let's say bone quality, or I don't know, pathological problems and so on, you could address that completely differently over time as well. Because if you call up and say, hey, I was just following up on that quote that we gave you for implant, did you want to go ahead with that? Instead, you could go with, hey, we sent you an email last month with all that information about orthodontics or implants. Do you have any questions about that? That really softens that conversation and allows you to bounce off information that you sent through. Because the gap is this: the person asking the question, they don't know anything about the price. They're not educated enough on the subject. And this happens absolutely everywhere. When it comes to the sales process, people will ask for a question because they know nothing else to ask. But hey, when you open, how much is the price? That's it. If you're able to really talk to them for longer and build that relationship, you'll always have a better sale conversion rate.
Yeah, cool.
Excellent.
Alex, can you hear me? Or...
Yes, Ian. How you going?
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, good. Alex, I was just wondering with the YouTube ads.
Yeah.
Is that done through the same like the business campaign website that you run your normal AdWords through, or is that?
Yeah. So, okay, good question. The whole Google Ads side of things has got a number of different channels, and the YouTube network is one of those channels. So. Okay. If you're going to go through the business.google.com, that's your Google business that naturally wants to upsell you into Google Ads, which is an automatic form of advertising, which I strongly, I don't recommend that. I'd strongly dislike that. The reason being, it's all about machine learning, and it's all about pushing your message to whatever Google considers relevant. Now, Google's made huge improvements over the last 3 years in the AI. However, it's still pushes people to spend money sometimes where they shouldn't be spending money. So if you're doing it through the Google business, you can have your YouTube ads running. However, you won't have the scalability and the options in order to make them really specific. Because what I want to do with my ads, for example, is I want to be able to show my ads to people in a specific area that fit the customer profile, that basically follow certain YouTube channels, and you just simply won't have those options if you're doing it through the business suite within Google. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, it does. And when it comes to like videos and making videos, do you guys look after that sort of thing? Or
we've got a few providers that are able to help us, and in fact, a lot of the time what happens now is people would be able to film something themselves, and typically it's all about lighting and sound. So if you can get the lighting
Okay.
and sound more or less okay, then we
Yes.
can actually get one of our contractors to help you compile it into something else. And look,
Okay.
you
Okay.
can never make it perfect. It's always work in progress. My advice is just get something out there, because the opportunities that video marketing opens up when it comes to digital is just, it's tremendous. And because nobody
Okay.
else is doing it, it's a huge opportunity.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Whereabouts
Alex.
are you
Yeah.
based, Ian?
I'm in Acacia Ridge,
Okay.
Brisbane.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're not too far away. We're just over at
No, we're
Wollongabba.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're close. Yeah. Yeah.
Great. Well, for some reason, some of the people who joined this Zoom call had experienced some technical difficulties. I had quite a few inquiries saying
okay.
that, Zoom had decided to update or something, but luckily we're
Yeah, it did.
recording this.
Yeah, it did. As soon as I logged on, it wanted to update. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I guess, in relation to costs and stuff, everybody's different. I have some clients that are spending, $1,000 a month, and they're quite comfortable with that, because look, if they're going to get 10, 15 new patients per month with everything else that keeps them busy. I've got some patients, some practices that are sort of targeting patients at $250, $300. And the whole idea is you have to be clear about your business and the actual value of those customers. I'll give you an example. We have a customer in Melbourne that specializes in All-on-4, for example. Now, that's a procedure that's $25,000. And over COVID, we found that the inquiries skyrocketed because dental tourism was out of the question. So people couldn't travel overseas. Your Thailands, your Indias, your Vietnams were not, even on the radar. And people started approaching the local market about those sort of treatments. And obviously, you'd be very happy to pay a higher amount per those inquiries because of the end outcome. So now things are changing, but there's still a good way to get those leads come through, because over that time, you obviously build the trust of the local market and people start to refer as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the cool thing that I like is obviously all the remarketing stuff. When you run a campaign and someone tells a friend, say, hey, go check this out, these guys out, or I went to see them. The moment they visit your website, you can start a remarketing campaign based on that visit. And this is what a lot of people don't do. They think that marketing is all about that one interaction. Well, it's not. It doesn't work like that anymore. Yeah. Any other questions, guys?
That's about me, Alex. Yeah.
No worries. Okay, cool. And how big is your practice, Ian?
We're a 3-chair practice.
Okay.
And we're just doing some renovations and fit out at the moment. So I just wanted to kind of have like a fresh start, a fresh campaign, and start from fresh from next month.
Absolutely. Well, I hope this webinar is useful, because I have sort of tried to put this specifically around what's working right now, and I guess some of the biggest gaps. I mean, I can talk about marketing all day long, and I've been doing this for 16 years, but overall, I do think that dental practices oftentimes look at one another too much, and then they try to run something similar and expect different results. Well, unfortunately, it doesn't quite work. So email marketing, landing pages, YouTube ads, I think if you do those things, you'll definitely do much better than your competitors, because they simply aren't on the radar in doing that.
Cool.
Excellent. All right, guys. Well, I guess in terms of the upcoming topics, we've got next month a presentation called Optimizing Google Business for More Reviews. Now, this one's going to be free, and we're doing this with a company called 5-Star Reviews that actually specializes in Google business optimization and reviews for practices. So they do comply with all the ARPA stuff, and there's quite a lot of legal stuff in there that they use in order to do that, because obviously dental practices are highly regulated when it comes to getting reviews, testimonials, and replying to reviews and all sorts of stuff as well. We have got a company that specializes in accounting wanting to do a presentation as well. But due to time, we probably will push this to about August. And then I guess overall, a lot of practices are looking for best practices overall for websites. So this is probably going to be a topic in the following month as well. And look, if there's anything else, please email me. I'd be more than happy to put something together. For us, running these webinars really enables us to educate the market, educate our existing clients, and also win some new business as well through education, which is something that we're a big part of. And yeah, guys, if you're looking for any more information or you want to optimize your business from a sales perspective, or you're looking at other things, check out my podcast. It's called Better Business That Works. I'm up to episode number 16, and I do have quite a few interesting guests as well that specialize in various things. Overall, guys, if you want to reach me, my email is alexi@practiceresults.com.au, and there's an 07 number if you want to give us a call. But I look forward to speaking to you in the future And if you got any questions, please do reach out. And like I said, that consultation is definitely available. It's free. And if you guys want to chat, book a time, and I'll be more than happy to have a chat with you.